the target of the politician, the people who actually vote, are actually those who are not allies, those who don't go to school. People like me and you, with due respect, in 100% of us who are allies, who know these things, sit in our watching channels and Nigeria decides on channel on election day. Let me give you an example. In Katsina, during 2015, from the mosque, the troops in all those villages, they troops to the polling units. That's around 5:36 a.m. I remember here, I was in Lagos. I was going to knock at my neighbors. Please come out now. I don't even know where I kept my PVC. I don't even know. And we keep coming back on Twitter to talk grammar. No. The people who actually vote, who actually are targets of these politicians, are those people who are non-elites, who actually pick these things. An average politician knows that in an urban center where there are 1 million people, maybe 200,000 will come and vote. But in a village where there are 600,000 people, he's sure 450,000 coming out to vote. I don't know if I'm passing a message. That's number one. Number two, on the issue, there's one big mistake we all still keep making. The most important office is president. How I really wish the energy, the zeal we put into this, we put into the local and state government. I see people come to complain about the president, and they are so okay with the rot going on in their states. 99% of our problems are problems that will be solved at sub-national level, including even the security issue. So Nigerians, we really need to open our perspective. We need to look at things holistically. So we are so much into the issue of president, such much. Look at the governors now. They are so relaxed. Nobody is pressuring them. Issues will happen in your states. People will go and shout Buhari. And these are people getting maybe an average of ₦1 billion monthly as security votes. When anything happens about insecurity, you shout Buhari. We are still not getting it. It is from the grassroots. Now, talking about Tinubu, Osibanjo, Amaechi, Osibanjo is sound, just like Fashola, sincerely speaking. And everybody knows that. Policy directions, interactions, communication is sound. But you need a political structure to be a president and to be able to be effective. It doesn't have it. Amaechi that's true. Osibanjo also is not a politician like that. His technocracy is limited to governance. It's governance and politics. Amaechi, on the other hand, has a bit of politician, as it to an extent, is very, very sound. However, he has no structure. Now, coming back to Tinubu, why the noise is about Tinubu today? Do you know why? It's not because he came 4 years or 8 years ago. He has been in this race like decades. He has no. Look at Joe Biden, for instance, in the United States. He didn't come out. It's not served a la carte. This is politics. You must have paid your dues, paid your price. In fact, let me tell you guys, Tinubu is the only one. Tinubu is the only one that picks people from nowhere and give them spacing. But that's why our eyes are open to all these people now. If not, on a good day, during the likes of Ganiu Dawood Wafenifere, can somebody like Sanwo-Olu come and even contest, or even Ambode contest in Lagos? When people, it is not a day thing, it's not a year thing. So, that's my joke. Okay. So, I'm so sorry. So Tinubu, right now, what he needs to do is brain work. Tinubu has the resources in terms of human resources. He has the reach in terms of regional cooperation. He has the influence internationally. So the president does not need to come and run around or something. He has the people. He has the likes of Fashola, Osibanjo. He knows Buwale Edu. He has people. He has plenty Mogalos. He has plenty Akinwumi and Ishinos that will work. He has it. All he needs is give them policy direction, give them objectives to meet, give them timeline, and set monitoring. So that is it. So for me, on that basis, I think Tinubu is right now the way Nigeria is. Then my last point, Tinubu is the bridge between those old people and these new young people we are talking about. Like I said earlier on, it's only Tinubu that I see that usually brings new people into the fold. By the time Tinubu finishes, you will see that platform would have opened up for more people who are younger and more enlightened. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's get Biruki.
We young, okay, Biruki.
Do you want to say something to what
Yes, I just want we young people need to get involved in politics more often and not 3 weeks in political season we'll start shouting, let's vote the right candidate, Things are not done that way. We need to start on time. Start advocating on time. You can't start advocating 6 months to an election and expect the candidate to do so well. These politicians start doing their groundwork 8 years, sometimes 10 years before this thing. So we need to get serious about politics. Get really serious. Check our state governors, check our local government chairmen, check our councillors, check our House of Assembly, State of Assembly. We need to put attention to all these things, not just the presidency. Biruki, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Jason Whitebeard on the house. I've listened to past speakers, but one thing I've come to realize over time is this. Nigerians, we are too sentimental and emotional. The game of politics is not meant for sentimental people. It is fueled by cold logic. And that's why we keep failing every election cycle. Raji was saying something about education. Yes, he's right, but we need to understand something also. The more academic education you acquire in Nigeria, the less political education you will learn on the street. And that's the problem we're having. That's why those who don't go to school, they understand politics more than those who have degrees in their cupboard at home. And that has to change. I can give a typical example. And it's also right on the back of the topic. In Austria, the head of the party, he had to step down. But he handed the party over to a 31-year-old boy. I said 31-year-old boy. He was still an undergraduate student at the University of Vienna. Mind you, at the age of 28, he brought US and Iran to the table. I said 28 years. He was already the foreign minister. He didn't even graduate from university before he became chancellor of the country. The Iran-US nuclear peace deal I'm talking about. So he's 28 years old, but I look at that deal. He came up, what did he do? Very simple. He gave a list of names to the party. I mean, a 60-year-old party. 31-year-old boy running a 60-year-old party. These are my candidates. I want to work with all young people. Take this list or leave it. The victory was a landslide. The country have never seen it before. Straight to the elections, he led the country to victory. What am I talking about? All this idea of I worked and I have to enjoy what I worked for, man, is BS. All the party leaders that were there since Second World War, most of them are still alive today. But they said, hand the party effectively to the next generation. How they do it is very simple. Over here, let me give you a breakdown. When they're doing SUG election equivalent in Nigeria, all the universities, they run their election in one day. All the political parties are involved. I mean, in university election. They all have their youth wing in the university. They contest from the local to the national level. So they are basically grooming all their future leaders in the university, no matter what you read. I know most of my classmates they're already in several parliaments already in the different regions in the country. But Nigeria is different. All we do is every time for election, we gather, there's some people who bring money, we start talking about party structures. Please, party structure is in the head. That's the old way of doing election. Right now, election has gone digital. I repeat, election has gone digital. That concept of we gathering people, sharing money, open offices, bro, it's over. Those days are over. Please, look up the Vote Party, VOLT. It's scattered in the university. What their plan is this: capture the whole of Europe. And I'm telling you, write it down. In the next 12 years, these young guys will capture the entire Europe. It's from the university. Because they're already on LinkedIn. Right? And they even have members of the European Parliament. I mean, young boys in the university. Their plan is this: every single party in the country, capture your own country. Design your own policy based on your own country need, not on the continent. Imagine a party controlling an entire continent. I mean, they're telling you in the next 15 years, they want to capture Europe, just one party. No godfather, just young boys in the university. And gradually, they're already doing it across Europe. Over 50 countries, there are people in parliament right now speaking to you. So this idea of this, that, yes, it will take time. We know. Nigeria is not like Europe. We know. But put this thing in your head. That idea of structure, lie, it does change. We saw voting is going digital right now. I mean, you can sit in your toilet, you will vote. Don't think Nigeria will use this PVC forever.
Let's move on. Round off in 30 seconds, please.
All right.
Please, no verse.
No problem. I'm sitting here now. The point is this. When you are voting, put this at the back of your mind. Are you voting for a technocrat? Are you voting for an operator? Or are you voting for a politician? Right now, Nigeria, we don't need an operator. We don't need a politician. It's a technocrat that we need to run the system. Are you the mind?
All right. Thank you, Biruki, for that submission. Let's get okay. All right. Okay. Let's Festus. Mr. Festus, go ahead, please.
I need to talk, please, because I'm actually busy. I need to talk, please.
Agent, I don't know, Agent Benz, please.
Benz, that's not allowed. That's not allowed.
That's no, you can't be interjecting. You can't. Oh, please. Festus, go ahead, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I've been listening to all this conversation. The unfortunate thing is that we are not helping ourselves with this kind of discussion because we are discussing all these old people. We have ruined many people's life, especially with the young people. Many of us don't have direction. Many of us don't have opinion. They have got the best of this country. When many of them are growing up, what we are paying for today, they got it free. And they are still holding to that country. What they get freely, we are paying heavily. I heard so many of them that they traveled out and they came back to work in Nigeria. Now we all want to run out of Nigeria. The system is not helping us. The system is what we should be talking about. It's not the people. These people, they have ruined us. Sincerely, they have ruined us. We should talk about the system. Then when I'm talking about the system, it's the processes, just like what they are doing. We can also, this election, this primary election has exposed the ruling party that they are not ready for governance, right from time. What they just did is to hijack power. No, let's talk about system. And let's start from INEC. They should be independent. If INEC has been doing their job diligently, they have been independent. Any politician that's spending money during election is disqualified. Everything will fall in place. Nobody will bring money. Or if our rule, the constitution that we condemn that is not good, as bad as disease, if they follow it to the letters, we'll still be okay. We'll still be in the right path. Unfortunately, we are not talking. We are still talking these people. These people, is it Tinubu that will be bringing people money, buying people everything to just win their conscience? What is it going to offer us when we get there? That's my concern. We should talk about the system, not about the people. What kind of government do we want? Is this presidential system of government? Is it sustainable? It's not. None of them is talking about restructuring of all these programs. When Buhari was coming in, he was championing fighting corruption, resource. Now nobody is even talking about anything right now. It's so easy, so painful. Please, let's start talking about the system, the kind of government we want, not what this person has done. Now, go to South Africa. Nelson Mandela spent over 20 years.
This is the issue. I didn't want to allow this, Jason. Let us try and stick to the topic. I know we want to talk about reforms and all these things, but this is not the space for reform. This is for the AP presidential ticket. You say what you feel, or you don't request for the mic at all. Please, let's try and keep it civil. We are not here to talk about system. We're not here to talk about reforms. If we want to talk about reforms, we will create a space for reforms. Please, a million people talk, and we don't get a sense of what we are talking about. Thank you. You can carry on.
Mr. Festus, can you mute your mic?
I just want to talk about the system, and that's all I want to talk because I'm not interested in all these people.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Let's move on, please. Let's get CBO. CBO has been trying to go back out. Has been coming in now. CBO, go ahead, please.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm just my own observation of the whole APC presidential battle right now. Yesterday, I said in a forum that the C in APC is content. The C in APC actually means content. I am enjoying the politicking I'm seeing. I'm enjoying it. I don't care if anybody calls it backstabbing or anything. I always say the leadership is a reflection of our society. So everything you are seeing is just a reflection of who we are as a people. It happened in the PDP. It is happening in LP. It is happening in all the political spaces, all the political parties. The same thing. Trade blames, trade games, trade this one, different powers, different backstabbing, different. I just feel it brings room for a lot of entertainment. However, my observation, Osibanjo does not have, neither does Amaechi have the weight to withstand the intense politicking that is going on. Yesterday night, I remember when we were speaking, I think it was on Big Daddy Space. I saw a video of when the northern governors gathered themselves. Some will follow them. They were looking for Abdullahi Adamu after he made that statement. They were looking for the guy. Like, where did you bring up consensus candidates from? He did not attend the meeting in NEC. They went to the office, they didn't see him. They went to his house in Abuja, they didn't see him. They all drove to Kefi, to his village in Kefi. They went there to go and bring him, arose him in the middle of the night. I saw the video, I was laughing. I do not think an Osibanjo has the mind to play that kind of politics. I don't think so. I don't think an Amaechi, yes, to an extent, he might have that, but I don't think he too, he will have that kind of mind. What they were doing is intense, heavy politicking. I might be wrong. I believe an Osibanjo would have just looked at that situation and said, okay, it's all good, I've given up, you don't do, I want peace. But these guys were ready to follow their whatever to the last. They followed it up to early hours of this morning. That's the intense politicking that is going on. I'm seeing videos, I'm seeing pictures, I'm not on ground in Eagle Square, but I'm giving this thing whole, this APC, I'm giving it to Tinubu. The politicking is mad. It is on another level. In fact, I saw a boss, Enugu State boss, Imo State boss. I say, what is going on here? It is crazy. It is crazy. The level of politicking is intense. Let's keep watching till it ends.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chinedu, please go ahead. Please unmute your mic. Thank you, CBO, for that submission. Mr. Chinedu, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Wait, Mr. Chinedu, wait. How you doing, sir? Jason Whitebeard, how you doing? Good morning. Sorry, I had a long night. My regular people, I see you guys. How you doing? Please, how are we doing this? Am I bringing everybody up, or we have a line we're following? How are we going today?
We just have a maximum of 5 on there. So we just so basically Mr. Chinedu is gonna go. After Chinedu, anybody Chinedu's speaking will drop in. We'll just bring in more people. That's how we're doing it.
Hello, this is Chinedu.
Chinedu, one second. Hold on, your mic, please. If you pay attention, we have almost 400 people in here, so we need to follow protocol and procedures, please. There's no jumping off line, there's no interjection. If you have 5 minutes, you stick to 5 minutes. When it's your turn, we'll call you. If you want to speak and you're amongst the speaker section, your hands have to be up. We have to follow an order. And most importantly, please, you must stick to topic. There's no sidetracking today. If those kind of things happen, we'll have to just drop you. There's too many people for us to go through that line today. So please, let's try to be as quick as possible.
And also, just to put it out there, the conversation is being streamed. So please, let's try and be specific. Go straight to the point. The conversation is being streamed by
And let's be civil,
news media. So please, let's try and stick to the
let's be civil.
topic, please.
And let's be civil, please. All right. Mr. Chinedu, go ahead, sir. 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, the host and the co-host, for having this conversation this evening or this afternoon. I want to thank everyone on board and stand on the already established protocol. You see, the matter is very simple if we have to deal with this topic here. But Justin and Whitebird and other co-hosts, you can see that I've been in spaces here on Twitter within some days now, within some weeks now, where people want to discuss APC or PDP exclusively, or some candidates in comparison exclusively. And at the end of the day, you see that 90% person that comes in here want to digress to the reality on board. Igbo say, sorry, I want to say this Igbo adage, Abasegu Onanuku. After the whole dance, it goes to the west. So people are being more concerned about what comes after this, whoever we chooses. So let's deal with the issue of the day. Because the truth is, it is not in contention about the pragmatism, about the political heavyweights. I mean, his juggernautism, so to speak, if I have to use that word, of Tinubu as a person. This is not in contention. We do know. I personally, for once, do know. I know when my father used to be with them in AD, those many years, down to then, he has been in politics. We know he has the human capacity, the financial capacity, or whatever, human resources and all that. But, Osibanjo also, to me, isn't a bad person, because even though he may not have all these, to me, I don't think you need to have all the things for you to come up. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan hadn't been building anybody, and so he was picked as VP, and from there he became the president of Nigeria. If not, we were all blindfolded, we thought that he was so cold and this and that, and we gave him the masses, especially the youth, gave him the support that we were giving, the energy we're exhuming now. I think this country would have been better off. So I don't think Osibanjo taking over the presidency is a bad deal, because one, it has. I'm an Igbo person, but we're analyzing politics there, and I have to go with our sentiment. Now, and particularly with respect to the topic we're discussing, you will discover that Osibanjo is a young person. Put them side by side and remove sentiment, most Nigerians want to go by him. He has been in the government. He understands. Both Tinubu and Osibanjo are also members or corporates in every bad aspect of the governance of this particular tenure that we are our administration. Tinubu was saying he brought Buhari. I don't think he really understood earlier on what it means. It means you brought a failure. So we can't clap for you for doing that. Osibanjo is also a mass in the mess of this particular administration. So both of them goes to part. Apart from the fact that Tinubu, as I said, has all the while without to prosecute this election to the last, with all the human capacity and whatever I think he has. He has been working on it, as somebody said earlier, and many persons have said earlier. So if Osibanjo takes the seat among these 10 persons we are discussing here, I don't think it will be. He will not perform. I think most Nigerians will want to really vote for him. So personally, I want to go with Osibanjo. In as much as I know that Tinubu has all the resources and whatever, I know that Osibanjo is already in the mainstream of the government. He understands it very well. He has been there. He has been a president. When you are outside of presidency, we know what obtains. 1 + 1 is always sweet, outside the mathematics exam. But when you go into the exam, or you begin to ask yourself, spell IT, spell IS is for me. You see that the thing is not as smooth as it is. So the thing is, Tinubu is of age. Let's not just always whisk that away. When you compare him with Joe Biden, it's not proper. It's not equating, because in America we have a system that is working perfectly fine. It's just plug and play. Yet they are still having a lot of stress. You can see what the man is going through. So, but now when you take a kind of Nigeria that is already dilapidated and falling apart with great speed, geometrically, then you don't get an old man to go and run it for you, in my own opinion. So, Osibanjo would want to stand the pressure. I work in an organization. or the leadership is about, monitoring. It's about supervision. It's about ideology. By the time they tell you that they bomb in Kaduna, and they're still talking about, they're telling you that they are fighting, they are roasting another person because of blasphemy and all this and all that. Are you going to be comfortable? Are you going to have the strength to withstand all those things? So that's the thing. So you need to, it's a whole lot. And you need to make movements. You cannot be that age and you make a lot of movement and withstand it. Buhari had tested the power of Nigerians' strength and discovered it is not easy. And he told on his health. And today we're having this. So that's the reality. I am not a Yoruba man, but I'm looking at it. Amaechi would have been a good president, but I cannot see the leadership quality that Amaechi has exhibited in the time past. And handing over the presidency to him, good luck to him, that I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but I have told you from my own personal analysis and experience what I think is the right thing. Among these three persons you're talking about. But outside these three persons, who are just like some other person has said, we want to decentralize Nigeria, somebody who is interested in production, somebody who is interested in making this country work again, and not just an individual who goes to want to win election. After the election, what happens? After the reggae, how do we play the groove? How do we come on, we need to look beyond the APC if we are actually working to win election and also make Nigeria work. Because those are the two critical things we need to face. It's not about winning the election team. Then we need the kind of people to be somebody that is just interested in making the thing work. That's personal.
Please, let's stick to the topic. This is not a Peter Obi forum yet. We'll talk about Peter Obi tomorrow. But we have the let's try and stick to the topic. And for the person that said Osibanjo is young, Osibanjo is 65 years old, 5 years to 70. How is that a young man? Please, let's be guided about the information we share. Thank you. Let's go to the next person, please.
All right, let's get what's it called? Hold on, 1 sec. You just came. Let's go to more following day. More following day. Go ahead, please.
Yes, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's really informative. I'm really going to make my submission really quick. So I want to talk about my one candidate. If I was to vote for the APC candidate, between Amaechi and Tinubu. And let's put it in perspective. And let's put it in perspective. But he doesn't have the health to go around. And look at what Buhari did in 2014. Buhari was really developed, traveled out a lot of times. And, he was talking with memory loss sometimes. I don't remember a lot of things. And I think at this age, he might likely fall the same trap. I might say it's not that he's still and stuff like that, but I don't think his health-wise he can do the job. He might be capable, smart enough to be, but can he run around when it matters? I don't think so. So that's my own point of concern about him. He doesn't have the health, to be able to confront the giant challenges. And the thing is, when we are in a presidential system of government, we need somebody that can somebody that can really move around, monitor the every. The day you say, hey, stop this, hey, do that one, hey, and I don't think you see that. So, blueprint-wise, policy-wise, I think the best. Look at what this Lagos is. I think it's like the best for us to afford. I don't think it's capable to do the challenges. I mean, day by day, some of the presidents, travel for the country for internal affairs, national affairs, even policy things. I don't think he has that help in the really. So, but he really sounds and it's like he's going to transform Nigeria without. Now, so the thing is, I think he's a great man. I mean, he was in the University, he's good, And I think the time is on his part, time is on his side, age-wise. But I don't think Amaechi has the conviction to be the president for me. He has no conviction personally to be the president, not because of anything. But I don't see I don't see what he's going to get to the table, apart from the fact that it's different and it's transformative. I feel like he's just going to fall inside of some cabals. And going to Osibanjo, that's really how we come up with. Osibanjo too, I think he's just going to stand out Jonathan for second time. He was Jonathan looking for second time, trying to speak and trying to do it, because he doesn't have the structure. He doesn't have the structure to make him stand apart. And what, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to have to do it. And Osibanjo is not politically inclined. Like Raji said, I mean, smart-wise, and you can still manage it. But we need somebody that can play politics, play governance, and also stand by things when it matters. I'm man that somebody that cannot be controlled. I know you guys are following me. So I think these are the margins that we call them off. But to be fair, my own candidate are viable for Osibanjo. Because one, I think he knows what to do and how to do it. And I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not saying because I'm belong to the same profession, but this is when cousin of Buhari was in National Assembly, he was smart enough to say, go to your house. And to me, I think that's what Buhari does. He doesn't believe in sectionalism. And trust me, someone that can decide this country. I'm not asking Tinubu will be. I'm not saying Tinubu does not have the health on the side rather than manage the problems, the complexity of this country. I know you are saying it's just 5 year gap, but there are people who Tinubu. It's so clear. Even if it's 5 years, you can see Tinubu is only speaking. This guy is so clear-headed, and trust me, he's a listener. We need a president that will listen, not somebody that will just run his mouth. And trust me, as long as I say Tinubu is listening, look at what he did. Trust me, he just made use of himself. I may lay that for. I don't think that was good. Trust me. I think that was something Osibanjo will never do. And I think he's practicing the politics of because not someone that can practice politics of age. I mean, look at all these campaigns. I follow most of the campaigns, and there was no.
Please turn around up.
So there was no point where he was trying to insult other people, but look at all that. They are trying to come up short about things they are good at. I think that's really bad for the politics. So thank you so much for the policy. And I just want to say as a last man that this is our only scholar and they have a PVC. Please, very wrong. Please get your PVC. Thank you very much. God bless.
Following it, that's all right. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, if you know you're on ground in Abuja, and we'll give you the opportunity to tell us the situation of things that's happening on ground. Yeah, so you just feel free to request the mic, and we'll give you the opportunity to speak and just give us update on what's on the happenings on ground. Shidebere, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. Mic check. Can you all hear me all?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much to the co-host. Thank you to the team right here. So I'll just say something really quick. So this is about APC flag bearer or the APC presidential ticket. And to be honest, we are actually talking off points. So a lot of us. I'll be honest here. I believe in one thing. I believe in following the rule of law or following terms and policies. Every space has their rules and regulations. We all know that every candidate APC is bringing right now is not it. But the truth is, it's their presidential primaries, and we are looking at who is the best candidate that will rival the opposition party at the moment, which is the PDP article. I'll speak from fact. First of all, before I talk about the candidate I feel will do that work properly. Now, from facts, Tinubu built a great career, a great political career, a great man in terms of, from a negative point of view, I'll be honest. And, you can have your greatness from a negative point of view. Somebody can have his own greatness from a positive point of view. Tinubu had his greatness from a negative standpoint. We all know that. That's like black or white. That's white and black, straight up truth. You have Amaechi, built his political career with both. He was neither hot or cold, neither good or bad. He was just mixed man, like that's just it. Osibanjo, he's neither here or there. You know, you can't place him as a good person. You can't place him as a bad person. He's a pastor. He's a Christian. He's in a bad government. You know, just playing that politics 101 for us. You know, to me, I feel somebody who would be able to rival the opposition camp would be Amaechi. And reason being that he already has a platform in the northern part. People really understand who he is. They know him. He has images. He has that publicity stunt with the northern part. So he can rival your article over there. You know, coming to the south also, he has that appealing point from his name and other things. He could still also take some votes from the south. If APC is being serious here, Rotimi Amaechi would actually rival that person, that article guy. You know, but again, Tinubu, if Tinubu does not get the presidential flag bearing for a party that he saw come to life, I feel that it will be the end of APC. And one of the things that will make it the end of APC would be them bringing his boy, which is Osibanjo, before him. So that's why Osibanjo is cancelled. And that's why, really, Tinubu wouldn't get it. But now, if we should get a holistic view of things, I think that Nigeria cannot afford to have another nepotist as a president in Nigeria. And I'm trying to rationalize. Yeah, I'm trying to rationalize why.
Other people on the mic, so please let's move on to this. I think we're going 3 minutes. 3 minutes, please. Round up, please. Just round up.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, thank you. So in 3 minutes, I would say.
No. You've got less than 3. You got like 30 seconds more. Like I'm saying in general, let's do 3 minutes. So please, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, that's perfect. That's great. Okay, so I would say this actually, you know, to the viewers and everybody listening, I feel that the APC presidential primaries or whoever is going to get the flag bearing, it's going to actually be someone who they feel can rival the opposition party, which is PDP. And I don't think Tinubu or Osibanjo will be able to, based on the outstanding conflicts between both parties or interested candidates at the moment.
All right, thank you very much, Idebere. All right, let's Mr. One Nigeria has been here before, but let's get Temi Tokwe before we get Mr. One Nigeria, please. Temi Tokwe, please go ahead.
Okay, hi everybody.
Hi, Temi Tokwe.
So I've listened to everyone, and based on the information I have, that's the information available to me about these 3 people, I would say I would tilt towards Osibanjo more, mainly because he obviously has the education or the knowledge required for certain things. Based on, like I said, information available to me, people have made me understand that as much as everybody is painting Osibanjo as a bad person, that he's under this government, he has not done anything, he has not said anything, I was told that it is really not his fault, as he cannot openly go against the government. And so, to a large extent, I would just like to give him the benefit of doubt, to believe that he is actually a good person that can rule Nigeria. He's not a young person. I won't, like someone said, he's 65. I won't categorize him as a young person. But at least from what he says, and rather, he made some policies that were that were obviously intelligent. It looked like choices before the president came, and I heard he cut off a lot of power from him and all of that. So I would prefer that Osibanjo is the person bearing the ticket. Now, as much as Tinubu looks like, I know that Tinubu, I don't know, he has good antecedents of the past years. I am still yet to hear Tinubu say anything that he's going to do for Nigeria. And I have a problem with that. Let's even forget the fact that he's old. I agree, he's old. There are a lot of things he's not going to be able to do. I have a problem with the fact that this man just feels that it is his right. He's yet to tell me that, okay, I know it is my right, but this is what I'm going to do for you in this country. So a person, Buhari came and said, I will tackle corruption, I will do this, I will do that. Look at what is happening to us. Imagine a person that is not even telling you what he's going to do. He just believes that, now my right. I want my name to be in that book of record that I was once the president of Nigeria. What is going to happen? I believe that he has the power to tackle a lot of things as per corruption and the insecurity we have. I know that he has the power, but my problem is that he is not saying it. And if he's not saying it, I am moved to actually believe that this man is probably just going to, I don't know, let me not use the word, he's going to just steal more. He's just going to be very corrupt and steal enough for his family. He's not there to really cause a change, but to cause more havoc, like to cause the havoc he actually caused in Lagos, and put more people in place that is going to make his family come up later, and all of them become governors and all of that. He just wants to have that supreme power that I am the president of Nigeria. And for Amaechi is yet to show me anything that he can do. So for me, I would say Osibanjo is my candidate. Education, philosophy, social media, he is my candidate. I feel like he would do a spectacular job. I'm not sure of security. He might not have the strong willpower to tackle security, but I believe the economy will get better. I believe education will get better, and a whole lot of other aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Temitope. Thank you, Temitope. Let's get Mr. One Nigeria, then we'll get Engineer Abraham next. Mr. One Nigeria, please go ahead.
Hold on one second. Can we use Temitope as a template for others, please? Straight to the point. Tell us why you want this person. Just 3 minutes. If you can do that in 3 minutes, so can everybody else. So please, let's just follow what she did. We don't have to tell people like you're going off topic and stuff. So please, let's just do this thing accordingly. One Nigeria, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Temitope. You just told what is from my mouth. Let me say this. What do we want as a nation? Are we tired of some things? And I ask a lot of people, tell me why you want this person. And they say he has the dollar because he can be able to fight the dollar from the other candidate. And I say to myself, have we really learned something? Do we really want a nation? Do we really want to move ahead? Are we really, really looking at the future of our own children? Are we trying to monetize our country? That at the moment, the highest bidder becomes the president. It's an investment, so he takes back his money. And his son can also come in, and whoever has the money takes the nation. That is simply what we are talking about. What do you think is missing in Nigeria? Rule of law. Nigerians leave the country and they behave. Come back to the country and they misbehave. It's because we don't have rule of law. I'm not saying Osibanjo will give us that, but I'm saying somehow that is his field. Somehow. Could he strengthen it? Based on sentiment is my field. Maybe he will. Could that be good for the nation? Absolutely. Who do we need more than this? Should I talk about Amaechi? I'm very honest. He's so powerful. He's full of himself. And I'm scared for us to have those kind of people with power without limits. We will have Obasanjo remix. If you are not ready in the parliament, he will impeach the Senate president. You need to read people's body language, their behaviors, how they talk, and then you will be able to assess limits of their humility. I don't want to talk about whether Tinubu held or whatever. No, that is not my point. But all I'm saying is I have listened to him lately. He is not sounding coherent. And I'm trying to fix my head as a president of this terrible nation. This country is terrible. Even if you're bringing Obama to this country, I can guarantee you it's a disaster. We need just someone that mentally he can be able to speak, shout, move from places, at least to some extent. And I'm saying Tinubu cannot do that. But all I'm saying is our problem is not revenue generation. Our problem is management. And if we can get the system better to manage, people just want to sleep. People want to have this sense of belonging. And there are a lot of things that I don't even want to talk about, where as soon you pick this candidate, other part of the country feels, or some certain faith begins to feel disenfranchised. As much we want to incorporate zoning into this, it is because we want to carry everybody along. At the moment that we are so fragile, we should as well also put something into consideration. It isn't just about money. Some people have the money, but I can tell you they can't even sleep in the country. They can't even use the road. And somehow I think I have already suffered for this system. If what we are doing is to plant a seed to harvest, then I need someone that can continue with it somehow. Because we can't suffer this way and we still go back to square one. And I think that is what the president is trying to protect. I yield the mic.
All right, thank you very much. If you're just joining in, please let's retweet the space. Feel free to request the mic, guys. Let's retweet the space. Use the hashtag as much as possible. Let's get more on this thing. And we're keeping it live, and we're going to be getting some more updates on what's happening on ground on Eagle Square. Whitebeard, do you have any information for us a little bit before we go to the next speaker? Before we go to engineer.
Apparently, the news reaching me is that it's the two-man race between Tinubu and Osibanjo. And the people are trying to get him to the table, trying to get Tinubu to the table. And he has refused to meet with everybody. And I think the party chairman is now supporting Osibanjo. So it's like everybody against Tinubu's camp. It's a two-camp affair right now. So let's see. That's what's happening right now.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, I think I saw on the hashtag too as well. So please, let's use the hashtag as much as possible, retweet the space and bring in more folk. Engineer Abraham, good to have you here. Please, you go 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. The host, the co-host, I want to say thank you very much. I have to say, I think this is my first time of being here, so I stumbled on it, and I feel it's one of the best places actually a lot of people have to, talk about things that actually, happening in the country and how it is right now. I will move straight to the point, and I will not have to say too much, saying a lot of things. Yes, I don't live in Nigeria, but first time in Nigeria, a lot has happened in the system. We're dealing with the election today. Amaechi is there. Osibanjo is there. Tinubu is there. I will just make it big. I'm not a politician. I'm an engineer. I do my own thing and I go away. But I feel, let's call a spade a spade. I'm not campaigning. I will not be able to vote because we don't have the system where the diaspora can go into voting in a local election. But then I will say, why don't you look at this gentleman, Osibanjo? And there's a reason why I would say, let's look at Osibanjo. It's not that he's not a young gentleman. He's not a young man. Tinubu is not young. Actually, none of these guys are young. But because Nigeria right now is not an ideal situation, so we have to look at what is actually happening. Who can come in? So in a committee of nations, it's as though Nigeria is walking back. See, when you're outside the country, Nigeria is being seen as like it's just like a joke. Okay, look at Osibanjo. I think maybe I'm just being personally biased because when you're that intelligent, when you're active, you have that intellectual capacity, I will, just have to, look at you and feel, I think this guy has something to offer. I'm not looking at, he's not a politician, a core politician. We don't even need a politician today in Nigeria. A lot of people that are thinking and talking about the fact that Tinubu has done this, Tinubu has done that, I think it's all about personal interest. Does Tinubu, the question we're going to ask ourselves as young men, the youth in Nigeria, these guys are old already. The policy, the rules, the things they're laying on ground today is what will carve the Nigeria of tomorrow. Does the bitter truth, the bitter question we're going to ask ourselves, does Tinubu has the capacity, mental capacity to carry Nigeria as complex as it is today for the next 4 years? The answer is no. I'm sorry. I don't hate Tinubu. I lived in Lagos for a very long time, and I understand a lot of good things he has done. Tinubu is a fantastic guy, but he doesn't have the mental capacity right now, the strength. Yeah, he's intelligent, but does he have that? Is he sound enough to handle what the job element is all about? No. I'm not going to talk about Amaechi because I don't know much about Amaechi. Amaechi is just coming. I think the little I can gather from him, he has this personal ego, and whenever anybody, if he grabs the power, it's just going to be having a different kind of definition of presidency. That's his own. But for me, I feel Osibanjo, I don't know why people hate this gentleman. He's sound, he's intelligent. Look at every aspect of the economy, every aspect of Nigeria, situation. It's going to change. The problem, one of the gentlemen that was talking just now, he mentioned the rule of law. Do you know what the problem is in Nigeria? You are forced to commit a crime and you go away with it. You just get away with it. Come here, go to the US, go to America. If you commit a crime, you go for it. So if we have a judicial system that is strong and standing on its own, or if you commit a crime, you go for it. I feel this gentleman, Osibanjo, will go ahead and fix that. Look at education. Education is just, why I feel like, look at the way Nigerians are tripping into the UK right now, to other countries. Even people are leaving Nigeria to go and school in Ghana. These are some of the things that we need to look out for. Like, why do we look at the budget of education in Nigeria? We need somebody that look into all of this and feel, no, this is abnormal. We need to fix it. I'm only saying,
Mr. William, if you can be rounding up, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'm only saying Osibanjo in that light. Yes, he's been in the system. A lot of people say he's been in the system, he's part of the system. No, I would disagree with you. He's in the system, but he doesn't have, the only few times Buhari was away, we saw a bit of what he could put on the table. But, at the end of the day, he was put aback. A lot of things we understand all those politics that happen, but we need him to come in. Let's try this gentleman for 4 years. I feel is the best, because if he's been able to pick the ticket, what APC needs, pick a stronger northerner that is a Muslim that can pull the north. So we have a very sound guy from the south, which is him. Have a sound guy from the north, which is very popular as a vibe. APC will win this election. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, engineer. Let's get PK. PK, you got 3 minutes, please.
Yeah, Jason. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. So I just want to say a few things about the topic, and it's very, very interesting. Actually, yesterday when we started off this conversation, for me it was just banter, but I can see how serious this is, not just for only the APC, but also for Nigeria as a whole. So the thing is, I've seen a lot of people share their thoughts about how APC is being very careful with the primaries, and they always try to assume that they're doing it because they're trying to favor Tinubu, but I see it as the other way around. I think APC has been very, very careful with this whole process all this while, because the chances of Tinubu, winning is actually really slim. And APC is trying to get out of this stronger rather than weaker. So they do not want an institution where, for example, the people who are disgruntled after the primary, split or form factions or try to start anti-party activities. So APC is just trying to make sure that they are coming out of this strong. As for the 3 people who are up there, I just posted something on the Jumbotron, and one of the senators in APC is asserting that Amaechi has dropped. It's just Osibanjo and Tinubu. And now more than ever before, I'm beginning to feel that Osibanjo is actually the strongest person and has always been the strongest aspirant in this entire race. I really doubted his resilience, but we can see now that this guy is the one that is matching who we thought was going to be, his godfather and pretty much the strongest person at the beginning of the race. And I sincerely do feel that Osibanjo should be the right person for the APC. I feel that Osibanjo has shown not just resilience, but has also shown that, being a boy doesn't mean that I'm foolish. Being a boy just means that I'm smart. I feel all what he has been doing for the past 8 years. First of all, you should know that in the Fourth Republic, Osibanjo is the longest serving vice president. Like, there's no vice president that has been there longer than him. There's nobody that has understudied the presidency more than Osibanjo. There is also nobody who, has quote and unquote the technocratic skills that Osibanjo has. Like, this man, he qualifies to work in different walks of life. And I kind of feel like it is important for the APC to also remain unified, not just for their interests, but for everybody's interest. Because one thing I've come to learn in Nigerian politics is that when there is a lot of infighting within political parties, whether we like it or not, there's always a ripple effect. It comes down to affect, legislation. It comes down to affect party members, and it also comes down to affect the constituents of all those party members. Infighting in parties stalls policies. It just creates room for more violence in the electoral process, and violence in the electoral process also just means that we, as the citizens, are the ones that are going to suffer. So I feel like if APC picks Osibanjo, he is definitely going to be the best person, because the APC isn't only trying to find someone that will win the election for them. People always have this assumption that APC just wants to win the election. APC doesn't just want to win the election. At least no sane political party just wants to win election. They want to win, perform at a certain level so that they can maintain and continue their legacy. They don't want, after 8 years, they just win election and then PDP takes over. No political party would want to do that. And I feel the person that brings that balance between let's win the election and also let us put in some performance so that we can maintain our legacy is Osibanjo. Tinubu, the only thing Tinubu has under his belt is winning the election. Everybody knows that. And that's why we always talk about the money he has. He can match everybody dollar to dollar. Well, Osibanjo, he has already shown us that he can also match people dollar to dollar, and he has also the technocratic skills. So I feel like if APC sticks with Osibanjo, which I feel is going to happen, and I see it already happening, that is going to be the right way forward for them. Thank you, Jason, for allowing me to speak. I've seen your hands up. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, PK. Thank you, PK, for your submission. Let's go to Nzumbe, and we'll go to Biruki afterwards.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got 3 minutes, please.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you and Whitebeard for this space. It's very informative. I've been able to listen a lot and also learn a lot. The only thing I really kind of want to say is, and honestly, if we want to be honest with ourselves, the biggest issue in Nigeria is tribalism. That's the biggest issue. The Igbo man wants what's best for the Igbo man. The Yoruba man wants what's best for the Yoruba man. The Hausa man wants what's best for him. But we also have to remember that the goal is to improve Nigeria. That's the goal at the end of the day. It's surprising to me how we have these candidates and we haven't sat them to do a debate to explain their policies in front of the general public. I know everyone is like, oh, Osibanjo is this, oh, Tinubu is this, oh, Amaechi is this. But the truth of the matter is, if I ask a Tinubu supporter, hey, what are his plans to improve the value of the naira? You really won't know. The answer from one will be different from another. If I ask an Amaechi supporter, hey, what is his goals to reopen the schools so that people are not at home sitting down, you wouldn't know. If I ask an Osibanjo supporter, hey, what are his policies to improve Nigeria in regards to security, the answer will differ from one person to another. We all say, oh, go get your PVC, go get your PVC. PVC based on what? To go and vote based on vibes, based on an empty head?
Sorry, please. Like I said earlier, I want you to talk, but you need to stay within topic. You are going off course, please. Let's move to somebody else. I can't afford you to start talking about BBC and vibes and all. That is not the conversation here. The conversation is Amaechi, Osibanjo, or Tinubu. Take a pick. If you can't take a pick, don't contribute, please. Thank you very much. Let's have Tola Ferrari. Thank you.
Wait, that's not fair. I haven't.
Oh, hello, yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jason, Whitebears. Yeah, Mr. Powoshere, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk this afternoon. Yeah, today's the D-Day. The D-Day has come. We are here now, and I just want to say that APC will be making the biggest mistake if they get it wrong today. And the only way they can get it right now, today, not tomorrow, today, is by presenting Osibanjo to Nigeria as their candidate for next year's election. Tinubu, a lot of things has been said about him. He has always been my man. From day one, I have always loved that man. I have always loved him. And I said, I have always maintained this. Look, when they gave Tinubu the leader, the national leader of the party, that is the biggest level of honor. And it should maintain that. It should retain that as a kingmaker. You are more powerful behind the throne than on the throne. And I said, I wouldn't want to support him because he has a lot of baggage. Say whatever you like. Tinubu is a good person. But look, the assault on him, look at what we've had in the last 3-4 weeks. The assault on him is just too much. And many of the voters eventually, when we bring him out, are going to now start going back to all those lies. And you see, undoing all these lies is going to be a big, huge task for APC. Osibanjo has proven to the whole world. He has proven to the whole world over these years. He is competent, he is good, he is calm under pressure. All these lies about betrayal, they are just nothing. Somebody said something that, he's not politically aggressive or resilient. See, when the battles come, he is not going to be the one fighting. Goodluck Jonathan wasn't the one that dealt with Atiku. Atiku had the machinery. There are people that will go all out to do all that. So leave that to the party. And somebody is talking about, they are not talking about manifesto. Manifesto is not now. You don't present manifesto. It is the party that presents manifesto. What they are talking individually now is what they have at the back, what they can do, and they have to still hold it close to their chest. Atiku made that mistake in 2007 when he started telling everybody. He was the one that brought out this amnesty program. He started saying that while he was not yet even a candidate. And when he eventually lost out, Yar'Adua went ahead and implemented what he was talking. It was not Yar'Adua's idea. So politicians don't want to do that again. When they win the party's mandate, then they will come out with their plans, and the party also will bring their own. That will now develop into what we call manifesto. But for me, right now, today, the star boy is our best chance. I use the word our because I am an APC person. I am a Buharist to the last. And I will always say it. Star boy is our best option. Amaechi is very good. What I love about Amaechi is loyalty. Amaechi is loyal to principle, just like Osibanjo. To principle, not to personality. To principle. These guys are good. They are competent. The only thing that is standing against Tinubu is all these baggages that people have piled up in his front yard. If he gets that, it's going to take APC a lot of time getting rid of all those things. So why are we going to waste time? Let's go ahead with Osibanjo. Osibanjo will deliver. Osibanjo can withstand the pressure from the Sorosoke generation when it comes to Obi. Osibanjo can stand that. Osibanjo can also confront Atiku anytime, any day. So for me, Osibanjo fits that bill perfectly right now. Age-wise, academically, intelligence-wise, performance-wise, record-wise, he is the best. When you talk about all those retired generals, they have found that he is the best. When you talk of, name it, and again, Nigeria is divided in terms of religion. Osibanjo is going to eventually end up with a Muslim from the north. Good. To have a wrong thing when we presented a Muslim ticket with Tinubu, it will not fly. And the PDP are going to use that against him. Thank you very much. Thanks so much, Jason Whiteberry. Thank you. I'm standing by here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tola Biruki. So basically,
let's have more first, please.
Because due to the situation of things that I'm hearing now, that it's close race, I've just changed it now to Bola Tinubu versus Osibanjo, and if we can narrow it down to them, because it's a very, very tough one. But I think it's gonna be between one of them. So let's Mo, go ahead, please.
What happened to Amaechi?
So the information that I'm getting now, they said Amaechi is slightly leading towards one of the guys. It's actually between it. It's actually a close race.
Amaechi is going to pull a Tambo out. That's what Amaechi is going to do.
Oh, okay. All right.
Please let
Biruki, please go ahead, please.
All right. No, how far now? Like I said earlier, in the game of power, you have three kind of players: technocrats, operators, and your politicians. Your technocrats, they run the system. They make things to happen. Then you have the operators. All they do is cut deals to make the technocrats have the chance to work. Then you have your politicians. They give the human face to government policies. They link the technocrats to the people. Now, like you said earlier, Amaechi is already out. Even though I wanted to talk about it. Somebody said it's outspoken. Sorry, it's not outspoken. It's loquacious. It's just a polite version of Wiki. They are both birds from the same nest. Somebody was saying he was very effective or whatever. Please, go to Ogoni land. Ask them about him. They will tell you. Go to the Calabari Ijos. Ask them, why did he go to APC in the first place? They will tell you why. It was his tongue. He talks too much for no reason. And the seat of the commander-in-chief is too sacred for somebody of such temperament. At this current stage in Nigeria, we were having crises all over Nigeria. You might even go and insult people and cause more problems for no reason. Now, between Osibanjo and Tinubu, first, my stance about Tinubu is already known. He's an operator. In a democracy, you don't hand power over to an operator. Never. In a monarchy, it can work. Dictatorship, of course, perfect to work. But in a democracy, sorry, supreme power is not given. Every single country that tried it in history, it never worked. They always left ashes in their wake, though they were elected. As for Osibanjo, some people are talking about Osibanjo. I keep laughing. That guy is a Machiavel. A fist of steel in velvet glove. The brief period they handled Nigeria, we saw what they did with TSS. Nobody has ever tried that in the history of Nigeria. So don't make that mistake. As for me, what I like about him is he is unpredictable. He can swing anyway, and nobody can predict. And that's what Nigeria need right now. We already know the others in other parties, basically. You know that incident, but for Osibanjo as the candidate of the ruling party, he can do and undo. Though I don't like him personally, because he has kept silent. He was federing in this. So many things have gone wrong. He kept quiet. And for me, that's a negative. Because he was not outspoken like the number 2 to IBB then. So basically, I will round up by saying this quote by Putin in an interview. He said, I've met over 3 American presidents. they all had good ideas. But when they won the election, some men came in blue suits, well-polished shoes, with briefcases, and they told them, this is how the system works. And they succumbed to those men. So the issue is this: if any person win at the end of the day, will they succumb to the players in the system, or will they flip the system and change it for the better? Are you the mic?
Thank you, Ezeoke, for that. Let's get Mr. William, please. Mr. William, please, go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. How you guys doing? Well done, the host, the co-host, my brother. I mean, it's a very good question. Amaechi, Atiku, and Osibanjo. I think I'll go with the prof. Osibanjo will get my vote. But again, in a very good climate, I'll say this though. Osibanjo has failed us for being in this administration and letting all the impunity that went on as a constitutional lawyer. He never waked up to criticize the administration or to say anything. So, but however, among the three candidates, I think he is the best one. I think he's somebody that we can, if given the chance, maybe with all of his intellect, would, reform the system and that's my take. I yield the mic. Thanks, brother.
Okay, Mr. Let me hear you. Please, if you want to speak, feel free to request the mic, and we'll give you the opportunity to speak. Yeah, and also let's just retreat the space and let's get more folks.
Let's have Zube should finish this last conversation. Zube, please.
All right, thanks for letting me back on. Okay, just to answer your question with regards to Tinubu and Osibanjo, I guess Amaechi is out, right? So between them two, honestly, the question is who can beat PDP's guy, and the answer is both guys can beat PDP. Bola Tinubu can beat and Osibanjo can beat. The next question is who can APC control, and the answer is Osibanjo. And that's why I honestly think Osibanjo is going to win. Because Tinubu is very, very powerful. Osibanjo is, like someone said, he's someone you can't really... He's very unpredictable, right? But with Tinubu is very powerful. And that speech he made about, him putting what's his name, the president in power, I think that kind of hurt him. Tinubu has a lot of fans. He has a lot of Lagosians love him. But the thing about Tinubu is, I'm not sure if he'll get the northern votes. Osibanjo has the stamp of approval from Buhari, so he'll get that a little bit of the northern vote, but he'll also get a lot of the southern vote as well. So I think Osibanjo will probably be the person who will win at the end of the day. Both guys are powerful, both guys are strong, but I think Osibanjo will end up getting the ticket. I'm gonna yield the mic now.
Thank you very much. Whitebeard, do you have any update for us? Any updates? And if you can see any more requests, I can't see any more requests.
No more updates. It's just. I think election should just start out between two people, Osibanjo and Tinubu, and let's see what happens from there.
Wow,
Amaechi was in a meeting with the president, but he has not said anything. We don't know where he's swinging to. Amaechi has not said where he's swinging to yet, so we're still waiting for update on that part.
So with that now, with the likes of the other people, the other presidential aspirants, like what's their situation? Any update from them yet? Aside from Yaya Bello saying he doesn't want any.
They are insisting. They're insisting on contesting, but they have told them already that it's only two people, but they are still insisting on contesting. So nobody can force them to contest. Not to contest. Lawan was met by the 12 governors earlier today too, and they spoke with him, but nobody has given any outcome for the meeting. I think everything will be ended in Eagle Square. That's the information I'm getting so far. But the adversary in Eagle Square is saying Tinubu's delegates are everywhere and is locking down most of the states. That's what I'm hearing though. Most people are saying Tinubu is locking it down. Except we have interference from the government and things might change. But Tinubu looks to be ahead for now. But we can't say, we can't judge. Things can change. Politics, anything can happen in 1 hour, 2 hours. If Amaechi, only God knows the coalition that's going to happen behind closed doors. But the thing is that people are saying that as much as they are trying, for every step you take, Tinubu has taken 2 steps ahead of you, as in, is blocking everywhere people are trying to go. It was so crazy that even the national chairman tried calling him for a meeting, and he refused to go to the meeting. So that means he's arguing or he's fighting from a position of strength, in my opinion, and it's really crazy. But let's wait and see. He might not win. He might win. We can't say he's going to win, but it's small. It's everybody's saying Tinubu for now, but we'll wait till everything is over.
Thank you, Whitebeard. Yeah, I think it should start in about 14 minutes from now, so we should be able to get some more updates. But yeah, if you have a thing or two, you want to please request the mic. We'll give you the opportunity. Yeah, I see every one of you. And also let's retweet the space too, so to get more folks in here to just yeah, let's have a good conversation. I will see who be the APC presidential candidate. The son of the son, please go ahead. The son, are you there? The son. What, can you hear me?
Perfect, I can hear you loud and clear. Let's move on to someone else. There's let me bring more people up. Sorry.
Yeah. Mr. Tola, are you there?
Tola just spoke. And we can have Abukadri or Chuang.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't see any requests from my end. So you bring them from your own hand, and yeah.
I'll bring them.
Yeah.
A lot of people requested.
Yeah. Wow, it's an interesting one, eh? It's very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, I think I brought a lot of people up now.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I can't. Which one did you? Who did you bring first of all? So really,
I brought Chuang first, then Abdulkader.
Yeah, Chuang, please go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chuang.
Yeah.
I greet you, my brother.
Yes. So this is an interesting conversation. I think that to be honest, it's difficult to say this will be the play and this will not be the play. I think that we can look at the permutations and look at the interests, and then we can likely from the interests predict who will come. As we are aware that unfortunately and sadly Nigerian politics is not about ideologies, it's about interests. If we are about ideologies, then we could say, okay, this is the candidate that will best represent the ideology of this political party. And to go direct to the point, I think that Amaechi is in the play. I think that Tinubu is in the play. I think largely Osibanjo is in the play. Now, but for Amaechi, I think that he has a bit of the odds. One, the issue of momentum. Two, the issue of personality. And three, the issue of the political situation of the state, where it will count against him, because where the situation will be that this is the political situation in the state, you don't have APC in the state, and most likely APC may not win the next election in Rivers. That could also be ignored, as in the case of Atiku, who emerged in PDP. But however, we need the momentum of the government. So we will now look at the scenario and see what is the joker of the delegate among the government. And then we will now go back to Osibanjo, we will now go back to Tinubu, because it will look like it's a play between the two of them. That it will be the issue of who has the political structure in the state. Take for instance what happened with BP. But many people on social media, and that's what I just a little speak. Many people on social media, oh no, it's not like this. What they forgot was that Wike took over political structures in state, sponsored specific candidates in state. So, and he got most Taraba, for instance, which had the political structure, Benue, for instance, Plateau, for instance, Niger, for instance. And if you look at that, it will give you an insight that, oh, this person has the political structure. But how do you get a political structure in the state? Long-term relationship to the issue of money, which they had money. That was how he was able to get this job. If Tambawa had not stepped down, there was no way that Atiku would have been a shock because the majority of the delegates were from the zone that Tambawa was from. Now, the governors now have the delegates. That is the point. The state, the APC have the majority of the governors, and the governors have the delegates. The next question will be, based on the interests of the governors, who are they cutting? You know, for example, Kano is hopefully cutting Tinubu. You know, for instance, now with Shetima being the campaign chairman, he's from Meduguri. You know, for instance, that Tinubu is making a play for Sokoto. So, and if you look at Kano, you look at Lagos, you look at Sokoto, you will now see that a chunk of majority of the delegates come from those states. The other point you will look at is that other governors also want Osibanjo. They have been pressing for Osibanjo. Now, the president had the opportunity to have just solidified and say, okay, this is my candidate. If the president had put away from a candidate within the stadium, it will have make it difficult for the governors to carry their delegates and give maybe to Tinubu or give maybe to Amaechi. Or if the president has put his word between Tinubu, it makes it difficult for the governors to do. So what I think is that the president to allow the process. Hello? Are you still with me? Hello?
Yeah, Shuma, go ahead, please. I can hear you.
If the president is going to this evening agree to back a candidate, my suspicion is that the candidate that has the president's backing will emerge. If the president now gambles and allow a free flow of the process, then the candidate with the structure and with the money will emerge. In this case, it will be Tinubu. So at the end of the day, it will now be based on the decision of the president. I may be wrong, but this is my little thinking from observing the process. But I may be wrong.
All right, thank you, Shuma. Thank you, Shuma. Mr.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Abdul Kadir, please go ahead, please.
Hello, thank you for giving me the mic. Actually, it was an update. I just saw that the governor of Kano, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, just went out of the secretariat. You know, he's a sole supporter of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and from the way the climate is showing, I don't think he saw anything good. So he went out. He and one other governor, I've forgotten the name. So that's just the update. Thank you.
Are you, Abdul Kadir, are you on ground?
No, I'm not on ground, but a friend of mine is on ground.
Okay, all right. If you could be giving us people, I'll leave you here on the speaker. So if you have anything to say, just indicate by raising up your hand. If you have any more updates for us, please. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's get Mr. Okonkwo, please.
Thank you very much, Jason. Onyeka Okonkwo speaking from Australia. Can you hear me, first of all? Sure.
I can hear you, Mr. Onyeka. Go ahead.
Okay, loud and clear. Okay, cool.
What city are you in Australia?
Brisbane.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, West Aussie.
Oh, WA. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, APC primary is Bola Tinubu and Yemi Osibanjo. At this stage, well, Bola Tinubu is not someone we should trust with giving power. Osibanjo has proven himself time and again. He's had the opportunity to make changes, and he made significant changes. If not for the cabal and whatever is happening in Nigeria at this stage, we're just left with what's it called? Just to make our choices from choose the lesser evil. So at this stage and this situation we are in, Osibanjo for APC is the only person that can come out and get the people's votes, apart from the dollar votes. The dollar vote is not just what they want. They keep saying your vote doesn't count, but they keep paying money for it. So the dollar vote is not just what counts. Also, they need the people's votes. So Osibanjo is in the center of all this. And believe you me, money is not the problem. So they're not looking for someone to match PDP's candidates. They are looking for someone to match actually the likes of Obi. If it's about money, they can match whatever Tiku is going to bring out. They have whole heaps of governors. How many governors in the north? They have over 13 governors in across the country. They have more governors. So billions can be flying around. So it's not about money for them. It's about someone who has the image, who still has some sort of image left. Tinubu outside the West. I don't think he can win any other state. But Osibanjo is someone that can win the hearts of people. He's in the hearts of people at the moment. So he's definitely going to go places. I wrote in his one, I was in Port Harcourt when he was the governor. He was just a bit ras back then. So I don't think he can't help APC at all. So for me, Osibanjo will be the best bet for APC. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, Jason. I'm Wedbeard and the rest of the co-host. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Okonkwo. Thank you for that submission. All right. Fisola, you've been requesting the mic. Fisola, go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Fisola.
Yeah. Regarding my contribution regarding this topic, in terms of the competent leader among the APC candidates, Osibanjo is the right candidate. Though I'm not a fan of APC, but in terms of dollar, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
But the way the things are going now, but you know the situation of the country, the delegates are ready to sell the vote because of dollar. That's the truth. So the delegates might choose Tinubu because of the dollar. But to me, I would have preferred if Osibanjo win the race. At least during the time Buhari was away, at least the man did some, at least he let you stay as the chief commander in the armed forces. He did. His influence was a little bit okay. But why don't we give him a try? But the problem is not about what is called Osibanjo. The problem right now is about the delegates. The delegates are going to go for the dollar. That's the truth. We are in Nigeria. Because it's like opportunity for the delegates to get back their own share of it. So that's my contribution.
Thank you, Fisola. Let's get Mr. United, please.
Hello, Whitebeard. Good evening. I just quickly come back to give you one information as it is currently going at the Eagle Square. I told you earlier on, with the look of things now, I think we should just be celebrating Osibanjo because I just got information from a delegate from Eagle Square now. Although the delegate is actually a Yabelo delegate, and he was ranting before. As it is now, since they've been able to bring him to the side of the VP as well. So that's the information I just got from the Eagle Square now. So hopefully we'll still have to wait and see how it is. But as it stands now, Osibanjo is getting more stronger than we expected. So that's just the latest information as we speak now.
Thank you, United. Are you on ground, if I may ask? Are you on ground?
I'm not personally on ground, but I'm in touch with the delegate on ground.
Okay, all right. If you have any more updates, just indicate just request the mic again. I will give you the opportunity to speak.
No problem. Hold on.
All right. The son of the framework, please go ahead, please.
Yeah, Jason, how are you?
I'm very well.
Okay, in a space, and Big Dad was there. Everybody telling me I was given a conspiracy. You can see the handwriting on the wall. Osibanjo is the next candidate. Is going to be the next candidate of APC for a lot of reasons. when I was analyzing my point yesterday, I told everybody, I said the most difficult thing to do is Tinubu is a very strong and powerful man. All he needed to consolidate that power was to give him the presidency. He will become a demon if they give him that position. And knowing fully well all of these factors, is also very careful. And because how would you, if you were to be in Buhari's shoe, you too, you wouldn't do that. Because whether I like it or not, these are men who have contributed to the rise, one way or the other. So I believe that he sees Osibanjo as humble, he had worked with him. The criteria he has given. Check all the criteria he has given, stated, somebody who understands his policy, somebody, now, all Tinubu,
the son, if you can hear me, this thing is breaking. If you go out and come back again, you continue. I can't really hear you. Okay. Go out and come back again. You're breaking there. Well, Able Light, go ahead, please.
Hi, good evening, all. Thank you for this opportunity. Right now, my heart is actually skipping right now, and maybe I'm kind of scared for the first time to experience election and all of those things. This is the first time I'm getting so engaged, and I don't know it. Concerning the topic, Bola Tinubu, right now we all just have two candidates, Bola Tinubu and Osibanjo. We know everything, like all the speakers have already said. Tinubu has a template, and he's got philosophy, and he understood governance, and I'm sure he can perform well. He can perform well, but I think what takes toll on him was allowing the kind of way of him wanting to rule, of being the president, to get on him, and he somehow kind of go off himself as to the way we know him to be. Like, he's not always that coming out to speak and all of those things. It goes on him, and with the record on ground, with what the youth faced for quite 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and everything boiled down to him. And I think it's one of the things that they themselves would love to consider if they put down Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it's one way or the other we come back to hurt him or to hunt him, and it won't be a good thing for APC, and to everything that has to do with election or party or bring contesting for president. I think it boils down to we, the citizens, and they are looking at the numbers as well. And I'm sure, looking at the numbers, right now, they know that the only person that can give them that numbers and be able to, pick up those numbers is Osibanjo. Yes, he's got people from the north, and the northerners are, if not all of them, at least they are pleased with him, and we all could agree that even at the little time he was able to be there to rule instead of Buhari, he performed well. There's excellency, there's humility, there's we all are looking for president who can come out to speak to us, someone who can relate with us, not just someone who would be at the back door, and you understand what I'm saying. So I guess Osibanjo is the right man. He's the right man. But one thing I'm just scared of is the power behind this thing. I just hope and believe that it will go well, so that at the end of the day, it won't haunt like one of the speakers said, if peradventure Osibanjo becomes the president and the party is not in order, then it won't favor him again. It won't favor him again. So my heart and everything goes to Osibanjo on this. Thank you.
All right, okay, all right, let's go. Mr. Beck, please, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Thank you. The time is 3:06 here. Yeah, basically, I would like to talk about Osibanjo a little bit, and I will talk a little bit about Tinubu as well. In a lesser evil, I will pick Osibanjo. But let's come to reality. The last time I checked, Osibanjo is the one in charge of Economic Council in Nigeria. Is economy doing well? We all know we are not doing well, and that's the fact. Secondly, when Osibanjo sacked the DSS man, Lawal, I can't remember his name, let me tell you today, Northerners, they've not forgiven him till today, and that's the truth. Let me talk about Tinubu. When people talk about Lagos, all this, that, there are some cities all over the world. All over the world. They are there. No matter what you do, they will always grow. Whoever that governs there, the city will grow. I live in Sydney. Even if you put me as a mayor of Sydney today, Sydney will keep running. So nobody should come around and start telling me, oh, he was the one that do what. It's very, 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 this sense of entitlement, what exactly ló I'm a Yoruba man? As a matter of fact, money law, as a man taught him by Tinubu, she DSS, that's what I told governor today. So I know him as a very good man, very nice man, but no. All this money he's spending around to be a president, so he won't get his money back? And for Atiku, PDP, I know we are not talking about Atiku. So Buhari should be a president for 8 years, and you want to be a president for 8 years? Are they the only ones in Nigeria? No. Please, I yield the mic. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Oga Beck, wait, before you go, please, the thing you just spoke now, that Yoruba, please, you will translate it. I do not understand. What I'm saying is that even have electricity, a city that doesn't even have water